The following video is an answer to a question that a student of Kabbalah asked. And the question is, what is spirituality? Spirituality, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. So, in Kabbalah, spirituality is basically what we can call the connection with the Creator through the correction of our ego. When we talk about this connection, we need to look back and go to the book of Torah, which is actually 5 books, also known as the 5 books of Moses. But in reality, the Torah is not one book, it's a manual about this spirituality that we're talking about. It's just that the way we read it as stories. But in the inner sense of the Torah, you're gonna find the spiritual meaning of it all. And what you're gonna find is codes and allusions to this spiritual realm that Kabbalah talks about. Torah is instruction by the light, by the upper light. Torah is translated, as instruction, but inside the word Torah, there's also the word or, which is light. So it's an instruction by the light. And this is basically a manual to correct our ego. It's a manual to start loving our Creator, or God, and then loving ourselves in order to love everybody else around us. And the whole point of spirituality is those 3 things: love the Creator, love yourself, and love your neighbor as yourself. What we're gonna see is that in Genesis, you're gonna find the code for this connection, or this what we call today spirituality. And what we're gonna see is that Adam and Eve were connected to the Creator. Eventually, by what we call the serpent, they lost that connection. Then eventually what we're gonna see is corrections of that eventual breaking of that soul of Adam, or that fall of Adam, through certain characters that we're gonna be reading in the Torah. Like in Genesis, we're gonna see that we're gonna have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then we're gonna see that in the Exodus we're gonna see then the children of Israel. And eventually after that, not in the Torah specifically, even though in the Torah you're gonna find a tabernacle, there's an allusion to a heavenly pattern. And we're not gonna talk about it here, because it's gonna take another class. But the whole point is that the connection that the Hebrews at the time, or the children of Israel, have with God, that was basically the temple. It was the Shekhinah, the presence of God dwelling in them, not among them, in them. So this connection was lost when the destruction of the first and second temple happened, because the temple exists out of connection of love for each other and the Creator. The temples then are destroyed out of hatred without reason. And today we have what is called, as a result of that, disconnection from that kind of a service of the heart, service of prayer now is made by the mouth, by us basically making prayers, and also performing certain mitzvot that were prescribed in the Torah initially. But this mitzvot can actually be a mechanical action instead of being an inner action. And this is where Kabbalah actually tries to basically connect us to the inner workings of each mitzvot, which is what is going to connect us with spirituality as well. Spirituality basically is us concerned about how to change, or not change, but correct our ego, or correct our egoistic nature to take for ourselves, and attain a different kind of intention with our ego that is gonna be we receive the light in order to give back to the Creator, and by loving God, ourselves, and others. There's a big difference between spirituality and religion, because religion is based in beliefs. Spirituality is based in this connection, in this sense that there's something else. So you're gonna find inside religion spirituality, but do not confuse religion with spirituality. Religion is just a system in order for you to find the spiritual, basically, system that we're talking about in Kabbalah. So yes, which is another question that I have from another student. Yes, you can find spirituality without religion. The problem is, that some people that are looking spirituality without a guide tend to err because they don't have a guide. They don't know where to go. They don't know what actually other people have achieved or how other people have done it in order for them to walk the walk in a more fast way and a more efficient way for them to connect. And when it comes to spirituality, connecting with others is important. We in Kabbalah, we don't practice separating ourselves from society. We don't go to monasteries, we don't become monks or anything like that. We practice our spirituality inside society. We don't run away from it. Running away from it defeats the purpose of loving our neighbors, right? And loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. And by doing that, we connect with the Creator, because we are, after all, the Creator's creature. If we don't love what the Creator created, that means we don't love ourselves and we don't love others. But this is the thing. What are we connecting? What really is spirituality? So let's talk about in a Kabbalistic point of view. The people from, let's say, from the book of Genesis were less egoistic than we were. They were not embedded in materialism like we are. And eventually, like in Exodus, they gonna be, or when Jacob actually was corrected, he became what is called Israel. Israel means Yashar El, those who are going directly to the Creator, to El. And then there's the nations. The nations are these egoistic natures that we have in us, these egoistic desires that we need to correct through the mitzvot, okay? And the mitzvot are basically corrections when we talk about them, as inner workings. Now, since these people in the past were less egoistic and they were not embedded in materialism as we are, they were more connected, even though Adam, as one soul, lost connection, broke into pieces. But these people were, connected somehow. Then with the temple, first temple and second temple, the tabernacle, the first temple and the second temple, that connection was still there. And it was a minimal light, but it was still there. But then it was lost. And now what we have is kind of like a shell that was protecting what was left of this connection in the past, or this wisdom about the connection that today we call Kabbalah. And that was Judaism. And that's why a lot of people confuse Judaism with Kabbalah. And Judaism is a religion. Kabbalah is basically the inner aspects behind Judaism, behind what Judaism actually teaches. So what is our goal? The goal is that as we understand that we have different levels of our soul, we have a nefesh, a ruach, and a shama. These levels of the soul needs to somehow connect. We have a nefesh, which is kind of like an animalistic soul, and then the ruach, which is more like a more rational, more conscious soul that is looking to correct itself in order to connect to or neshama, or that light inside our soul that is all about giving, that is all loving, like the Creator. The nefesh and the ruach need to connect to that light. So basically what we're talking is the nefesh, which belong to the word of Asiya, the ruach, that belong to the word Yetzirah, they need to correct in order to enter the word of Bria, which is the word of Binah, and the world of the level of our soul called neshama. And what we're doing is correcting our egoistic nature, which is in Malchut, in Asiya, and trying to start working our way up the ladder and reach that level of Binah in Bria, that is our Neshama. Once we connect with that inner, what we call our inner self, once we connect with that, that is called spirituality. Right now, a lot of people say, I'm a spiritual person. I would say, and as a Kabbalist would say, you're working towards spirituality, but you have not entered spirituality. You're working there. And this is where the concept of lo lishma and lishma comes. Not for his sake and for his sake. For the sake of the Creator and not for the sake of the Creator, which means that we start from the egoistic desire, which is not for the sake of the Creator, until we reach the level for the sake of the Creator. So right now, we've reached spirituality, and everybody starts on that level. There's no exception. We start searching for spirituality from an egoistic point of view because I want to connect with the Creator. Eventually, that's going to be changed into I want to receive the light of the Creator in order to give back to the Creator. And we do that through a key, and that key or keyword is love, ahava. And that keyword is very important because it's through love that we can achieve that. When Israel, Yashar El, the people of Israel, when they were in Mount Sinai, they were basically connecting with each other as one man and one soul against the hatred that they felt for each other. Sinai comes from Sinat, which is hatred. So this is what we need to do. We need to reach that level of Mount Sinai once again through that key aspect of the system, the spiritual system called love. Okay, so this is what spirituality is all about. It's basically for us to correct our ego, to attain love for God, love for ourselves, and love for other people, and to connect basically our nefesh and our ruach to our neshama, to bring our desire to receive for ourselves to a desire to bestow, to give back to the Creator, to give to others, to share this light with others. Okay, so don't confuse spirituality with meditating, going to a monastery like I mentioned before, and things like that. That's not spirituality. Those are techniques in order to calm ourselves psychologically. But spirituality is achieved by the inner changes. So meditating doesn't make you spiritual if those inner changes are not happening. You need to understand that there's a big difference between being spiritual and a big difference between being passive mentally and emotionally, which is what meditation helps you do. And not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying that's important in order to attain as a tool for spirituality, but it's not spirituality itself. It's just a practice to help you achieve certain things. In Kabbalah, what we do, we study, we do prayers, we do meditations as well as we pray, but we see them as tools for us to achieve certain kind of level in our mindset that help us achieve that connection with that is beyond us, that thing that is infinite, and connect our finite being to that infinite all that we call the Creator. And even calling it the Creator, it's not a good word for that that created everything, right? So just remember, spirituality is all about our inner changes, correcting our ego to attain love for God and love for others. I hope that these have actually helped a lot of people understanding what Kabbalah actually talks when it comes to, or says, when it comes to spirituality. There's much more that we can talk, like the different levels of the soul and how these inner workings actually work and happen. But just keep in mind that all you need to do right now is just continue studying Kabbalah, whether it is with us or other teachers. And as long as you are connecting or trying to connect with other people and loving God above all things, you are starting the process of climbing that ladder that eventually will take you to that level that we call spirituality. In the next video, part 2 of this video about spirituality, I'm going to explain what, according to Kabbalah, is the spiritual realm. In that way, it'll be more clear than just actions that we perform here in the physical realm, and what is actually happening in the inner realms, in that spiritual part of creation. And we'll talk about concepts like a concept called the Mahson, and how to achieve basically crossing the Mahson, which is something that all humanity at this moment is in the crossroads basically of achieving that, or being basically pushed out by nature itself. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope this video have given you an introduction of what Kabbalists actually think about spirituality, what is the difference between what people out there think about what is spirituality and what actually Kabbalah thinks spirituality is all about, what is the inner work that will help you achieve that connection of your nefesh ruach with your neshama. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Shalom.